What can you create with the Giraffe360 Pro Camera? What are the advantages of joining the Giraffe360 Photographer Program? Are you trying to decide between Matterport and Giraffe360? Stay tuned. Hi all, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. You're watching WGAN-TV, a podcast for digital twin creators shaping the future of real estate today. We have an awesome show for you. New Giraffe360 Pro Camera and Giraffe360 Photographer Program. Our subject matter expert is Giraffe360 founder and CEO, Mikas Opelts. Mikas, thanks for being on the show.
Hey Dad, really excited to be here. Good to see you again. It's been some time.
Good to see you again, Mikas. Before we do a deep dive into the Giraffe360 Pro Camera and the Giraffe360 Photographer Program, why do real estate photographers need to focus on offering more than just photos?
Maybe I will answer that from how the buyers are framing this, their position. Today, buyers are screaming to get more media into listings. From top of my head, around the second most requested feature, the media feature, is floor plan from buyers, but around 10% of listings gets floor plans. 6% of homes last year was found on Instagram or other social media apps, which is heavy video driven product. So the consumers want to consume more media. I think we have lived in this age of photography being the real estate marketing period, and that was changed. We already are in a different era today based on the buyers. I think that the supply side and the agents hasn't necessarily picked up with the offer, but it's then a beautiful opportunity. So the simple answer to your question is the buyers are demanding more media. Period.
You recently had Giraffe360 recently had a video webinar, and you talked a little bit about being able to shoot a space once and create a number of add-ons multiple times. Can you speak a little bit to that in terms of time management? You shoot X number of listings.
That is the core concept, the philosophy behind the Giraffe build. When we started the company, we looked on where the industry is heading, and that was one of the theses that it will be very clunky to produce real estate media on 5 to 10 different devices. So you, for a floor plan, need laser, then software for photography, photo camera, then Photoshop, Lightroom. For 3D creation, Matterport, for video production, again, a different workflow. And residential property sales and rental specifically is such a high-paced environment, and the budgets are quite low for the media productions. So we just didn't saw that there will be a good fit. It will be very clumsy to meet this this demand and necessity for rich media. And so when we started to design Giraffe platform, we started to design it straight away from as a media production platform. And then the question is, what is the real estate media? We definitely have photography, floor plan, video, 3D tour. Those we qualify as the core assets. And what we have been working hard on is not to discriminate on one of the assets. Like real estate marketing needs to be good quality. People want to see good pictures, accurate floor plans, engaging videos, very immersive 3D tours. And so that's the KPI for the Giraffe platform, is to deliver the technology, to deliver all these mediums in a set quality range. And so yeah, that was and still is one of the main thesis behind the developing Giraffe platform.
And as you've recently announced the Giraffe 360 Pro Camera with plans to ship it in July 2025, subject to the FCC approving government regulations in the United States. Is your vision that professional real estate photographers will migrate to the Giraffe 360 Pro Camera for shooting photos in addition to 3D tours, floor plans, videos, etc.?
Sorry, good question. I think Giraffe platform doesn't make sense if you don't use it with its almost all of its features. The value is in being in the one workflow. You can render all the real estate media. It gives it crazy efficiency, and the generational shift in the technology has happened, and that's driven by mostly by the AI and the robotics. The camera plays an important part. The camera is the data input, but our AI capability ensures these different media outputs. And on the previous question, you asked about the efficiency and that it creates, and so the underlying AI's ability to then create different contents and use the same data source inputs, and not to bother for the editor, for in this case the photographer, on every asset to separately set the settings and information. It's just crazy efficiency. So all this real estate media can be produced in a very efficient way. And so to give you a very practical example, so one of the basic requirements is that on the floor plan you name that this is a bedroom, this is a living area. But we get that insight from our AI models. We already place the names on the floor plans, but the same names, the same labels are also then placed in the video description. When the video voiceover is AI rendered, that uses the same data input. So we have used essentially the same input to generate those two different outputs, and so the efficiency that using Giraffe system that our partner gets, I think, is second to none. But it only works if you really use it widely. I think if you're a big fan of one of our media products, let's say big fan of our 3D or video product or photography, then I think it's just like then you end up in the same clumsy setup where you have very many tools, very softwares, and we strive to deliver one platform that does all of these things extremely well. Though we don't limit our partners. I think kind of our partners going to choose themselves if they use all our mediums or they kind of select one of their star products. But to be clear, I myself, I wouldn't advise to look on Giraffe and look on like a one solution that you really like. I think whether this platform makes sense for you or it doesn't. Like and Giraffe platform then competes with different tools in every category, with floor planning tools, with 3D tools, with photography tools, and and specifically this year, photography has made massive leaps in like our AI's ability to render quality. I think Dan, you tuned into our last two webinars. I showed the pictures for the Gen 2 AI editing and then Gen 3 AI editing. Like we have really progressed massively. Photography has always been the toughest to produce because photography has such a high quality expectations. And virtual tours are low, floor plans are kind of not here nor there, and video kind of depends on the partner. So photography historically has been the asset with the highest expectations, and to reach that, to be able to deliver now the photographies where our photographer partners are like, oh no, this is really good. Like I'm gonna use it like for my listings. I'm not necessarily bringing out my pro setup for every listing. Yeah.
I'm going to come back and ask you the question because I think for a real estate photographer to make the leap to say, oh, I was just thinking about Giraffe 360 for virtual tours or maybe for floor plans or something else, but I still plan to stick with my professional camera, DSLR, mirrorless camera, whatever. I think it may be helpful to actually understand the entire Giraffe 360 platform, the gear and the back end, etc. So I think I'd like to just come back to re-ask that question after we've talked about, well, what is it that you get and what's possible? Even before we talk about the camera, perhaps we could start with the deliverables. So why don't you take me through each of the deliverable and why you think it should be the photographer should be using a Giraffe 360 Pro Camera to create that content?
So deliverables are bucketed in three main categories. One category is real estate media, and the other and our platform is called Content Studio, where all this real estate media is then created. And the second huge bucket is the marketing automation platform, where we deliver, then use the media to start to render already full marketing campaigns. And to jump ahead a bit of myself and your questions is, we think our partners should approach the real estate companies with real estate marketing as the main as the main pitch, instead of focusing on photography, but how they can provide real estate marketing. And to go back to your question and unpack it, so in Content Studio there are 5 core assets. So photography as the crown jewel. No listing goes online without photography. Second, floor plan, then 3D tour, and then the point cloud, and I think I missed in the video. So those are the five key assets. In the Content Studio, for all of those assets, there are editors that allows you to personalize every experience as you want, but then also source files are available to download, and if you want to further edit outside of Giraffe platform capability. And it's up to our user to decide whether to use all of those assets. But as I think I mentioned before, I think Giraffe platform becomes really powerful, where you can, when all these products fit your requirements and what do you need for your business. And switching the gears to the Spotlight, our marketing automation platform. We are then using these assets and property description that also gets AI generated to automatically render a website from the property. So every property, every scan you do, essentially you can have in no time ready property dedicated single listing website. And then the second big asset already in the Content Studio, in the Spotlight product category, is our social media posts. There's a special generator, we call it Spark Render, that creates many forms of social media posts. A new listing coming up, listing just dropped the price, or open viewing, and then, or this listing is sold. That's all part of the Giraffe package. So I think it's actually very tough to single out the Giraffe assets, because they start to multiply. There is a bit of a progression. At first we get the core data inputs from a scan, then in Content Studio you have these 5 core assets, but then there's also description that gets generated, and then all of these assets in the Spotlight start to merge into marketing campaigns, and yeah. So the functionality is kind of it's quite crazy, quite crazy high. I think it's a bit. What we always struggled is actually before people started to use our product, actually for them to grasp the depth of the Giraffe platform. So yeah, because you get so many augmentations from the core assets to marketing, and then how the core assets can be viewed together. So it's it becomes a lot.
Okay.
In a good way.
Let's talk about the Giraffe 360 Pro Camera, and maybe you could relate it back to each of the digital assets that can be created as a result of using this system. Do you want to give us an overview of the Giraffe 360 Pro camera,
Mhm.
and related gear?
Yeah, the Pro Camera is we built it for an advanced user. That was the goal. I don't want to say that it's for like only photographer. It's for somebody who wants to really generate the best real estate media and do it across the categories. So the difference between our base model and pro model, the base models were very focused on efficiency in the property. So we were very focused on that. It takes only 60 seconds per room. You go in, and every room requires one scan. So a user can go from through like a 2-floor house in 25-30 minutes, capture everything, and then our AI rendering gonna deliver the information back. We see that is limiting approach because it stacks up rendering from time to time. We can't deliver all the assets in a couple of hours. It takes us 24 hours because there are lots of user errors. There's lots of places that get unscanned, or there's not enough data visibility. So we have to rely on our backend service to fix fix the issues and deliver the assets back. In the Pro setup, we're completely changing the tune. It's all about how you capture the property, and the better, aka the more time you spend, the more scans you create, the more and the better contents you will be able to produce. So there's a complete change of mentality in with the Pro setup. The user is really in control how you want to then be able to create the each of the content categories, and I'm going to break them down. What are the key features and key expected deliverables? But I really wanted to emphasize this point that the users will be really in charge, and they will be able to create more immersive or less immersive videos, and it will be their decision in the property. And the simple rule there is, the more scans you do, the more the more immersive videos you're gonna get. There's a very clear correlation there, and so yeah, so that's the core um, that's the core principle how the Pro Camera works. And then on the Pro Camera, we are not changing from the base model. There is a photo icon on the main screen. So there's basically two main buttons that user how do you do the scan. So there's in the photography or the 3D, and we have separated photography for a single most important reason. Typically for 3D scans, people focus from the center of the room and you want to scan the surroundings. But for photography, good photography, typically the best shots happen from the corner of the room where everything is very visible. So you want to be as close to the wall as possible. But when you do 3D scan, you don't want to rush in the wall as much. So photography has its own dedicated capture flow, and the camera's on a tripod. It shoots in HDR, so that's how we deal with light and dark settings, and users will have ability to change the dynamic range, to decide in future on how many dynamic ranges you want. So that photography capture is a dedicated workflow, and how a user just moves through the property, decides where to place a photo, and typically photography takes around 60 seconds to capture as it shoots in the dynamic range, and so it typically takes 60 seconds.
Is this 3 bracketed, 5 bracketed, more than that?
Default right now is 3, but with the Pro setup, in the software updates, we're gonna give the control also to the user to change some of these settings. The bracketings will be there will be flexibility. Right now on the first release, it will be the default version. Yeah.
And the tripod that comes with the Giraffe360 Pro Camera enables a low angle shot.
Exactly. So the tripod moves up and down. It's the first mechanical tripod of its kind. And the reason why we built the tripod mechanically is two things. When you move on the manual tripod up and down, it's very clumsy. And I've spent years in setting up tripod up and down. Either when I use Canon cameras to do 360 tours on a gimbal, or now with Giraffe, because for photography, typically you want to go lower. For a good photography, you want to be on the level of the furniture in the room instead of like having this very high view. Where in the 3D, because everything gets in the 3D in the virtual tours more spread out, you kind of wanna lift higher. So there's lots of manual up and down, and we being kind of tech and product focused people, we kind of wanna create a technology solution for every problem, and we thought that that's like a big manual hustle for property scans that we can really make convenient and get away from this tripod setting up and down, changing the heights and making it very convenient, automated.
So
And
can you compare the image quality, the deliverable for still photography, the HDR photography, to a professional photographer's present workflow?
I will put this out up to our users, and you are essentially the sides, because photography is a subjective. Every media is, floor plans are objective because there's legal requirements how ANSI floor plan needs to be delivered.
Let's
Photography,
be on photos for a moment
yeah,
there. Make the case for the Giraffe 360 Pro camera and the content studio as it relates to photos to say,
yeah.
well, here's why a photographer might consider switching for photo generated images, HDR photos generated through the Giraffe 360 Pro camera. Uh,
So
you have thoughts on that topic. So this is,
100%.
please tell
Uh,
us. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can tell in the last 90 days since we released the third gen photo editing software, and it doesn't impact the camera, how the camera captures. It really comes down to our AI editing ability to edit the pictures. Uh, Hands down, most of our photographer users have said, this is amazing. We love it. I'm ready to use this as my default setup. And when I'm doing like a premium listing, 20 million penthouse in Manhattan, then I will use my pro setup. But Giraffe today satisfies what I need from a good quality. And it comes from our editing improvements. On average, photography rendering time right now is between 4 to 5 hours. So you could be in a property, capture it, get back in a car, put on a hotspot, upload all the files, and hours later you will get the notification once the rendering is done. And how our image rendering happens is we have AI models that edit picture. So we, for example, one model just cuts out does window masking. So windows historically are always overexposed. So you want to take the dark shot from the behind the windows. And one other model removes objects, so you will never see Giraffe camera in reflection. And then we also have the privacy models that automatically blurs faces and stuff. And on average, 5 to 6% of pictures. And once the AI rendering is done, we have a quality assurance team. That's all our in-house staff. We have 2 locations, Riga and Manila. So we work pretty much around the clock. When one team finishes, the other team starts, and we kind of have almost 24-hour coverage there. And there's a quality assurance that monitors the pictures, and they check and they pick out the contents that haven't been done well by the AI and manually fixes them. So around 5 to 6% of images actually gets a manual fine tuned by our team, but that all happens in those 4 to 5 hours right now on average. And as we build our AI capability, we expect that time to keep dropping. So so the images are back, not the same day. They're literally gonna. I think by the end of this year, we will be able to cut that processing time significantly lower. I don't want to maybe give out some benchmarks, but as we keep evolving the system, the advantage for our photographer is speed. You go to property, you capture everything, and then you get back all the assets very quickly. So to answer your photography point, The camera fundamentally hasn't made that big leap in what has made the big change in our outputs. It's the AI editing where you gained so much of the advantage, and then our editor in the content studio has so much functionality that you can then tweak the photography further, and if there are any problems with the settings or how if our photographer doesn't like the editing style, that can be changed in the settings, or there's our service team is available, so we can go back to our editing team and make tweaks. So it's a very refined and very quick moving system. And to give you a sense, that's for all the contents. Every 80 seconds we deliver a new project. There's every 80 seconds there's somebody who has captured something, and full real estate media gets delivered back. And so it's
thank you. Let me break down a little bit more granular in terms of the photography. Since the images are delivered via that single property website to the agent, does the photographer, in addition to being able to tweak images in the content studio, can they export the images, go through their workflow, then import them back into Giraffe360, and then have them still delivered within the Giraffe360 ecosystem, the single property website?
Yeah, good question. Today you can download, you can't re-upload. So today Giraffe360 system works as you can extract the files, the source files, put in any other software, but once you remove them, there's no way how to get them back. So there's no, if you need changes in the final like in that single listing website, then that picture will not be today available in that single listing website. But there will be options to do that in one of the next releases. We're gonna allow content re-upload to the platform. That will be possible. Yes, today it's download only.
Okay, so if the photographer stays within the content studio, are there a number of settings for color correcting, sharpening, etc.
Yes.
within the content studio? And once that editing is done on one interior image, for example, can that edit be applied to all the indoor images?
You could save your personalized settings. You can change settings by project or for all your accounts. So there is multi-level adjustments possible. So you can
so
edit a single picture.
If you get back an entire job that's typical of how you shoot, you can change the presets so that the AI is following the photographer's presets.
Exactly. Yes, and you can save those settings, some specific settings. You can and then you can always go back either per project or per picture. So the editing happens on the levels, and we're on track this year to deliver way more than 250,000 listing listings. And that's millions of photographies edited, and I can go back to kind of what I mentioned before. It is subjective. What one likes, the other one doesn't like, and it's interesting to see there are industry standards, the core style, but it's always personal preference, and I think there's always the situation where somebody asks you, for example, in every project faces needs to be blurred, but then in one project you can't blur the faces because that actually was the intent, and you wanted the faces to show up there. So that's how we have been thinking about developing Giraffe platform. It's we try to automate and create core settings that fits hopefully the majority of the cases to really make day-to-day process operationally efficient, but then to give a flexibility when required to go in and edit. And so because the one thing we want to try to avoid is manual tasks being done repetitively, like the manual tasks, I think. But there's no system that delivers always pictures like every client will like them. There will be the requirement to personalize, and that duality has been built into the Giraffe platform, and I think and thus we can deliver to our partners that very high efficiency in the day-to-day operations, but then give the flexibility to personalize when required.
What is it that's special about the Giraffe360 Pro Camera that enables Giraffe360 to deliver ANSI compliant floor plans?
Yeah. So we spoke about the tripod, and the second value behind the tripod is more data collection. So automatically scan in the camera we have a built-in LiDAR. We actually have, for whatever that's worth, we've developed the LiDAR ourselves. For the last 2 generations, it's full in-house built and manufactured, and so the tripod allows more data capture, and as the user moves through the property, LiDAR keeps scanning the property. So ANSI standard is really, it's as every legal standard, it's more like a clear system. What is accounted in and out. We already last year built German legal standard ready floor plans, and so they can be used to submit for the banking mortgages. And previously we were operating UK as our home market. We started in UK, so in Europe the legal requirements around floor plans have been very strict and high. And America has been more flexible in that and in that sense. But the ANSI standard. So historically, we've always had a very huge focus on the legal requirements for the floor plan creation, and now since we launched in America, the ANSI standard was obvious. But it's more how we interpret the data nothing else. But because what's accurate in different jurisdictions is actually 2 different things, and whether you count in sloped ceiling areas or whether what's counted in is a terrace. To give you a fun fact, a terrace in Monaco is called a living area just because of the weather and how expensive it is to have a terrace. But then in other places that's not counted as a living area, and so it becomes an interpretation. And to zoom out how Giraffe platform is built, then essentially through our AI system that feeds then the content studio, we try to understand the property. What is this, a column? Is that a window? So there's lots of we taking the data and we interpret the data, and then if we can interpret the data accurately, we can then deliver these assets in the required forms, and so the floor plan accuracy becomes a data interpretation kind of an exercise, and so we have scanned millions of properties. We have 3 million properties in our database that we have used for the training sets. So now we can make that compliant with how the ANSI requires that. And the Pro camera comes in the picture here because it really delivers more data, and so it will be more repeatable, higher accuracy, and the LiDAR, the new generation LiDAR, the second LiDAR is industrial grade LiDAR, so the accuracy it will be just way higher. But it's kind of it's a dual question, if that makes sense. What I'm talking about here, it's the data input from the LiDAR, but the data interpretation actually is the hard part. It's the kind of, so you can feed in accurate data from a LiDAR, but if you can't interpret the data accurately and then attribute that information accurately, then there's no you don't have a good output. And so today we can deliver on the ANSI standard, which is the dominant for the States.
And tactically, what is delivered in terms of floor plans?
So floor plans breaks down in like 3 categories. I would probably break them down in 3 categories. One is the point cloud, the source point cloud. You get the fully merged point cloud that you can then download and use. Point cloud is more as a technical file. I don't think it's an output that actually gets used anywhere. There's no place to upload point cloud and get some kind of 3D mesh display. I don't know. I don't think Zillow or anyone has it. So, but that's a source file, and if you are servicing outside of residential real estate sales, I think that file format becomes very important for architects, construction, and we see there's some sub-use of that. But we use that point cloud mostly to generate the 2D floor plan, and 2D floor plan comes in different file formats. It either comes in PDF or SVG, and you can then change the file, also the different styles. So there's the core colored version, but then there is the also black and white version, and then user can also really personalize all the information on the floor plans. AI already sets all the room labels and names, but then if you want to, for some reason, change it, or for some reason there has been a mistake in the editors, the user can change it. So there's a designing and color versions.
This is in the content studio that the photographer can make changes.
Exactly, yeah. So you can make the changes, and going back to talk about the settings on the settings again, and our partner can then set the design style, how you want to look at the floor plan. Do you want the color version? Do you want a black and white version? And editing works in the same way as we spoke about the general principles of the content studio. So you can have the core settings for all the projects, and then you suddenly have one project where you don't want the black and white floor plan. You simply want the colored version, and you can go and customize that for that specific client.
Can a photographer have templates for different clients?
There's not that kind of functionality yet, but we're definitely thinking about it. How you can create templates for different client requirements. That's definitely on the playbook. That
color palette for a specific client, whether they want it with a logo, without a logo, whether their disclaimer line is different than what a photographer might typically offer.
Exactly. Today you can. I didn't mention the personalization. You thanks Dan for feeding You can add logos, change that per client, and so that's very convenient. But and we are thinking how to introduce the save templates per different clients, and so to make that workflow for that specific client X, let's call them, workflow very efficient, that you don't need to make as a photographer changes.
3D floor plans?
Yeah, they're coming. They're coming. You kind of you forced me to spill the beans. We're working on 3D floor plans, and that represent, like, again, 3D floor plan. Maybe I should actually break that down. There's no place to really upload a 3D floor plan. I think as a medium, it can be. It's more the underlying 3D floor plan that we can then render both for the videos. We really want to use 3D floor plans in the videos because we like how it allow people to tell the story. And 2D floor plan will be the main for the listing sites, as that has been the core asset, photography and 2D floor plan. But the 3D floor plans will be very handy for either 3D models and how to represent the virtual tours, and in the combination of a 3D model and for the video production. So, but there will not be per se though today you can download floor plan in DXF, and probably at some point we're going to have DWG file format, which is which gives also the height information into the floor plan instead of 2D information. So if you're talking about technical section of the file or the floor plans, then that 3D will be probably downloadable at one point. Today it's DXF file format.
The floor plan probably takes us into perhaps the third deliverable of a 3D tour. Can you describe how you include floor plan view within the tour, and perhaps it take us back to a bigger picture of how you describe the virtual tour that Giraffe360 delivers?
Mm-hmm. So the two core inputs for the Giraffe virtual tour are, number one is the panorama, because we shoot statically We also shoot HDR in the same way as we shoot the picture. We actually then shoot the panorama, and the same quality of editing principles that I mentioned on picture applies to our panoramas. They are not necessarily always developed in sequence. There might be a product update that comes in photography, and only a month later it pops up in panoramas. But you can really see that our editing ability on images is very high, which then translates into the panoramas. Hence, when you pull up the Giraffe virtual tour, it is high resolution, crisp, it looks well edited. High qualities we typically get, and you will not see overexposed windows. I think it's super rare that you will get overexposed windows. And so if we look quote unquote on image quality, the Giraffe panoramas I think stands out. I can't name a system that can replicate the quality of the panoramas in an automated way. I haven't seen. I think that's where we're very shine. And the second aspect is the floor plan, which is very essential for the virtual tour. We use specifically 2D floor plan because we have learned through years of UI testing is that floor plan is actually the most convenient for people to understand the property and its layout. And the way how we have integrated the floor plan in the virtual tour is very user friendly. We haven't been pushing the immersiveness where Matterport product shines in the 3D effects, how you move. And that's been mostly because we have the 3D effect, how you move between the panoramas. But because the base model was built on, you can have one scan per room, there's just not enough scans to really create that immersion. So the Giraffe historic virtual tour has been really good on the resolution and how convenient it's for the end user to use it. And then when we now switch the gears with the Pro camera, we'll be able to provide way higher immersiveness because our user will be able to scan more points, and the more points, the more immersive going to be, and so that immersiveness is going to go up with the Pro camera. But I want to emphasize the editing capability on the underlying panorama is that's our strength. That's our strength. We have 50 machine learning models that create these that create different medias, and image editing and panel editing is a huge part, huge block of that. Yeah.
In addition to Giraffe360 AI doing its magic, does the photographer have the same control over the panoramas just as they do in the Giraffe360 Content Studio? Perhaps changing the color cast, that you run into rooms that have fluorescent lighting, and all of a sudden the lighting doesn't look right in the space.
So yes, panels have editors. So the virtual tour has its own editor, and you can go and edit there the same personalization features if you need suddenly to blur a diploma that hasn't been blurred in the auto settings, and so or to change the navigation spots. The floor plan comes from the floor plan. So the way how you have created your floor plan is the way how you're going to see it in the virtual tour to you. And so you can't specifically, for example, edit the floor plan. But yes, the virtual tour has its own editor. You can work on panoramas, and there is dedicated feature set what additionally to do in that virtual tour. But from experience, I can tell you, people play around with the pictures because that's important, especially your master photography, the core shots. Then floor plans, we get some room name changes. There's some personal preferences, some color schemes. I think virtual tours actually doesn't get edited too much. There's some blurs that gets placed here and there, but if I'm not mistaken, percentage-wise, people edit the least virtual tours. I will verify that after the meeting. And now thinking about the statistics, but I think I should be right on that. That pictures gets edited the most, then floor plans and virtual tours gets the least amounts of some kind of a fine tuning or personalization.
Mikas, could you speak a little bit more on perhaps the transition of Giraffe 360 Pro Camera enabling what I think of as a 3D transition rather than a 360 transition, and perhaps where the LiDAR data may fit into this conversation?
Mhm. So, but maybe that also allows us to switch gears to the video product, where we really want to push that immersive model representation. So, we because the user captures more data, we are rebuilding the full properties 3D model, and we use Gaussian splat technology to create the full 3D model of the place, and specifically for the video, and video becomes more and more important content. I think for years, my interpretation is in the listing portal, there's no good use of video because photography, floor plan, and there's so much text that video gets just hammered in somewhere in a tab. I think video doesn't get as much push or consumer demand in the listing portal because listing portals are becoming more and more media heavy, and the virtual tours are over there. So I think the virtual tours kind of competes with the videos, and so I think it becomes a bit overcrowded there. The competition is high for the medium, but the video really shines in the social media communication, and we see that social media has been growing in its importance. I can speak from our staff experience. Sammy, our CCO, found his house on Instagram scrolling. I think Nick on Sammy's team also found her house on Instagram. I looked at the US data. 600,000 properties a year gets found on social media platforms. So, and it's like 3x over the last 4 or 5 years. So it is growing as a channel.
Mikas, you went a little bit fast for me on the Gaussian splats and how the camera and the tripod and all this happens, and then what actually gets delivered, and then what can the photographer change if any.
So, and because of this video, I think huge importance for the social media, we wanted to figure out how to build a good video product. And in our base model, the video product is created from panoramas, and we don't think it's as powerful, as immersive as it needs to be. And video production of its own is a very complex thing. So we wanted to basically figure out how to build this very immersive, very eye-catching, interesting video. So hence we zeroed in on creating a full 3D model from the scans using the point clouds and panoramas, creating this Gaussian splat, and then using this 3D place to render virtual videos. And so one of the video styles we're now launching with the Pro camera is, like, for example, the drone style video that literally is a very engaging fly through the property that catches the user's attention, and it is a very interesting way how to showcase the property without having to go there with a production crew, having to stage a property, having to put like sliders on, put different camera settings in, and spend like hours on the video production. We can really mimic, use that 3D Gaussian, the Gaussian splat 3D model to then render many different styles of video. So the drone style video is one of the first ones, and then we also have the two other styles coming out now with the Pro camera, and we will be releasing consistently new video styles. But the core input for that video production is that Gaussian splat 3D model, maybe also the 3D floor plans and some other other assets. But I really wanted to emphasize the point that the videos are very important for that social media presence, consistent communication.
I want to ask you about that in a second, I promise. But I still want to understand the data capture, the image capture, how does the tripod fit into this discussion, the Giraffe 360 Pro Camera tripod?
The tripod captures every scan. We spoke about the photography workflow where you go through the property, put it in the corner of the room, press a photo button. The 3D capture flow is that the 3D button automatically triggers LiDAR operating, and it allows, it also captures panoramas. So in every spot where user puts the camera and presses the 3D scan button, the camera will scan on 2 levels. So you're going to automatically go up and down. And then the capture process for the 3D, there will be lots of ownership on the photographer to then decide how short steps or big steps you want to create between the scans. And the shorter will be the steps, the more immersive will be the output rendering for the more full will be the 3D model, which allows to then render videos on a higher quality with less noises in them. So there will be user correlation, but there's not like just one right way how to do it.
There's the magic that's taking place where the camera is going up and down on its own in order to be capturing data, and that data is used in this Gaussian splat, maybe nicknamed G-splats, in order to create drone-style videos.
Correct? Yes. Yeah, that's exactly, and so there's 2 paths that's important for our partner to follow. The up and down path, it's automatic, but our photographer controls the horizontal the movement through the property. So and there is the decision on our partner side how dense you want to create that scan, and so that can be and so our partner will make that decision depending on their own priorities. If you want the best video in the history of the mankind, the most immersive, the most dense, then you want to spend more time on capturing more scans per each room. But if you want to optimize for efficiency and speed and medium quality of immersion is enough, then you can optimize for that. And I'm really emphasizing that the user is in the control of that capture process, and that's the learning curve with the Giraffe Pro system. Is for our partners, I recommend to just test out and see the output differences, and then to decide on what they prefer and how they prefer to run it. Because I really want to emphasize the point that on the base model, we really wanted to set the standards, how everything needs to look on. With the Pro model, this is a Pro equipment for advanced user to create real estate media, and so the person capturing space is also important. They don't need to just follow basic rules. They can come up. They can push the system to give them the results they want to achieve. Yeah.
So I think if I'm hearing you so far, if I kind of process some different things that you've talked about, and I promise we're going to come back to the social media and Instagram, but I think what I'm hearing is unlike the preceding camera, the Giraffe Go Camera, which is really for a real estate agent, fewer decisions, quicker to create content, 1 scan per room. With the Giraffe 360 Pro Camera, for those that do Matterport, it's more like a Matterport capture process where the photographer is lifting up the camera and moving it every 7 to 10 feet. And if you want denser point cloud, or you want a more help me out here.
I can't do that word. Like, that's too tough for me. But you're on the right track.
If you want a really awesome video that you're going to put the camera closer together, and while the data capture is going to take perhaps longer, the really good capture of the data between the photography and the LiDAR data will that enable it to actually process faster?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, yes. The more data you capture actually gives AI more data inputs and faster, and the less errors we have. So so let me actually take a step back. Today, every project gets delivered by Giraffe360. There's no situation where you go to the property, move through, do the capture, and you have an error screen. It doesn't happen because we have safe system with our team looking on the projects, and they will fix something if AI doesn't understand something and they can't kind of put together a floor plan, or that's for example where historically, or can't put together a virtual tour. But that is the advantage with the Pro system. If you use it on the screen, you will see there's a built-in display, um, a screen that allows you to follow the scan, and the more accurate you're in the scan, the more precise data you give to AI, which will then enable a very quick turnaround times for all the contents. And if there is errors in the scan, that will trigger for quality assurance team to step in, which will take then more time. But the advantage of the you touched upon it really accurately. It's a good catch that the better you capture in the property, the quicker and higher quality outputs you're going to get. So a bit more time spent in property yields faster return times actually in the content delivery from the AI. Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud here that if a photographer can turn around a tour same day, that's what we're talking about, not next day, that there may be an opportunity for the photographer to charge either a premium. Hey, our our normal turnaround time is next day. If you'd like to pay X more for 8-hour delivery from the time we shot, or 6-hour, or there may be an opportunity, or second, at least for the photographer to differentiate themselves, to say, hey, I know we promised this to you 9 a.m. tomorrow, but it's ready the day before we're going to send it to you. So
and exactly, and we are in the evolution. We are in the stage we are in the middle of the process where we are really picking up all the rendering time. So today there are assets that get generated in 3-5 hours, and some assets that take 24 hours, but nothing in a regular operation takes more than that 24 hours. And but to give you kind of a ballpark, we're really focusing on between 60 minutes to 5 hours. Like that's our time span. We wanna all the asset renderings to happen between the 60 minutes to 5 hours. That's our goalpost. That's what we are gunning towards to. And so you can have literally in 60 to 5 hour window websites ready with all the social media contents ready, and that's where I'm a bit segueing the conversation that for real estate industry, for real estate marketing, they ask for photography, but what they really need is the marketing to go out. And so if you can offer the whole marketing package to be ready in that in couple of hours from a scan, and that to me sounds like a crazy value proposition, or at least flexibility. But then to your point, then you can decide, or clients can decide how they want to use it, either to sell it at premium or to like I think having contents and all marketing ready within a couple of hours from capture just gives everybody so much flexibility, and so but that's our goalpost, where we are pushing with the Pro setup, with the rendering times for floor plans, photography, 3D tour, and videos, and so on. Yeah.
So again, maybe just to be overstood here, if the photographer captures the scans closer and closer together, the possibility of getting it back closer to the 60 minutes versus the 5 hours is actually potentially possible, or that 5 hours may be because some of the images didn't get processed correctly by AI. Your quality assurance team picked up on that, and then there's some manual editing taking place in order to deliver a quality job to the real estate photographer.
Yes, but one slight asterisk. Today the windows are either between 24 to 5 instead of 5 to an hour. So we want to push for like 60 minutes, but so instead of having 24-hour renderings to have 5-hour renderings would be the yes for the floor plans and photographies. As I said today, like everybody who uses Giraffe, they see the pictures back in that 4. It kind of goes up and down, 3.5 hours, 4 hours. That photographers are already there. The floor plan, the video, the virtual tour production today steeps up to 24 hours, but it's like on average 17, 22, that ballpark. And we wanna, with the Pro setup, if you have used it accurately in the property, or basically be more patient and done more scans and actually have captured all the niches and insights to really push that production time down to 5 hours with the Pro setup. That's the goal we're striving towards to. Yes, and then we get to the 5 hours for everything, and we'll see how we can cut down that even further. To give it kind of to spill the beans, lots of time in that rendering today actually upload and download takes. The rendering itself is can be done in an hour or so. The upload, the files needs to follow through the servers, and then they need to be rendered and then follow back. So there is that's why it actually the total time of the rendering is higher because of the upload and download of the files.
Stay tuned for part 2 of new Giraffe 360 Pro Camera and Giraffe 360 Photographer Program.